Woohoo! Full Force Fathers, welcome back. We are on episode 72, Dave. How are you this week? You look like you're tan or something. Where the hell you been?
Man, I am good. I'm a week back from the beach. We went to North Carolina for a week, and it was heavenly. The weather was great, sunny every day. We were in the ocean, on the beach for 6 days. Amazing, great time. So I got some color. I look much better with color. I'm usually the pasty white guy, so and it's different for me. When I was in Arizona, I had color all the time.
Yep.
But then when I moved here and I didn't see the sun for the first 3 months, I became that guy again, like a ghost. But no, I'm good, man. We're just coming off of celebrating Bryce's 7th birthday. Hard to believe. Happy belated birthday to Bryce. He turned 7 yesterday. So it's wild. It's absolutely wild. We got to. Yeah, man, he's ready to go into second grade. He's crushing it. He's just ready. He's football guy, football player. It's awesome.
It's insane that Bryce is 7. If you know our journey and our story as friends, I met Bryce when he was 3? 2. Yeah. Nuts. Second grade. Speaking of school, we are 2 days away from school starting, which is crazy in itself. Fastest summer I can remember. Obviously we got back to the desert and just nutty. But the fact that school starts in 2 days and I have an 8th grader, a 4th grader, and now the big one, kindergarten for Miss Finley. Hard to believe all around. Overall, though, just this summer it felt for as fast as it went by. I don't know how it felt for you. Your first summer in Tennessee, our first summer back here, since we moved in, at the end of 2021, it was super fast, but also kind of felt like a drag. I don't know, maybe because out here it was just the record-breaking, stifling heat that just never ended. And monsoon season so far this year has been so atrocious. I mean, we've only gotten like one true monsoon at my house.
I mean, really out there in the last 5 years, there's only been one really good monsoon season, then a monsoon season that was like, the rest of them were terrible.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last summer when we weren't here, you guys had that epic monsoon
season. Epic. It was our only one that we got to see. The year before was okay, but it wasn't last year was awesome.
Yeah, and the other funny thing is, but yes, most importantly, happy belated to Bryce. Can't believe you're 7. Hang out with your wang out in honor of you. Do your thing. That's, if anyone knows, Uncle Brett is always the inappropriate one because I don't have any boys. I only have girls, so I always have a one or two one-liners to throw Bryce's way when Uncle Brett needs to be inappropriate.
That's right.
Which is phenomenal. But the other thing, back it up 60 seconds to what you said. You're like, you have some color again. Isn't that amazing? When you move somewhere where there's seasons, all of a sudden you're like this pale white guy again. It's
awful. It's the worst thing ever because I mean, everybody looks better with color on them, but I feel like me specifically, when I see myself with nothing, I'm like, whoa. And then, it was nice being in Arizona. It was just color all the time because it's sunny all the time. Not here.
Yeah, and it's funny about Arizona. The other cool thing about Arizona is because you're always tan, you never think I need to go out in the sun today and get a little color because you always have color year round. Whereas like in Virginia, even in Southern Virginia, in the summertime, we went to the beach. I'm like, I got to lay out in the sun for a half an hour because like I need to get some color back. Here, you don't do that. You don't lay out in the sun here. Number one, you'll melt. And number two, you always have color.
Well, it's funny because people here since March have been saying to me, wow, you got a lot of color. Because I make a point to go outside every single day and I walk on my lunch break. And I get outside and I walk in the sun. So my sun, the sun hits my skin. I actually do. I keep some color going. That's the way to do it. But you got to make a point here to get out there when the sun's out because it's not all the time.
Yeah, you got to get that vitamin D no matter what every single day. Like our previous episode says, how many things can you do in one day that are important? Go get sun. That's one of the important ones. But anyways, we're all kind of just caught up. That was, I guess, house cleaning. Bryce's birthday. You've been home for a week. We've been home for a couple weeks now. And man, since we've been home with such a shitty monsoon season, we've been missing the Colorado mountains. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, 75 during the day it was there. Here it's freaking, it's terrible. 114 every day. 114, 86 degrees for the overnight low. I mean, it's unbearable sometimes. But it's all worth it because come fall and winter, you know why you live here. You don't live here for the summer, you know?
Yep, no doubt.
But anyway, so we got episode 72. Before we jump into the show, I just know Dave and I want to reiterate, please share the show. We enjoy doing this so much, and we have been on such a roll lately with these podcasts and the energy that we're bringing and the content. So share the show, tell your friends about it, whoever you're going to do, send us a message, give us a 5-star review on iTunes and whatnot, because we are never going to stop doing this, and we only can get better, with feedback and to grow the show, more organically like we have. We kind of, if we don't, no advertise or anything like that. We just want this thing to spread. So please share it and give us a good review if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. But anyways, Dave, so we're episode 72. We got famous number 72s to start the show off with. And I thought this baseball one was rather interesting because you're a big Red Sox fan. I root for the Red Sox in the American League primarily because I hated the Yankees. And as everyone knows, my National League team is the Cardinals. But the number 72, this was interesting. The first guy that popped up when just a simple Google search, I'm thinking, there's no one in baseball that wore 72. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Carlton Fisk, the great Red Sox, who has the homer over the wall in the World Series and all that good jazz, who wore 27 with the Red Sox. Yep, there you go. If you're watching on YouTube, Dave's doing the hand signals, right? He wore 27. That's how he's most famously well known and will be remembered for 27 he was with the Red Sox. But did you know when he went to the White Sox, which when his Red Sox career was over, he continued to play. He did play for the White Sox. He wore 72 with the White Sox. And there's some really interesting there's some really interesting reasons as to why he went from 27 to 72 when he switched over. The two main reasons were he broke out into the league, like into the big leagues in 1972, and he won Rookie of the Year in Major League Baseball in 1972. And the other reason why he did it is because his son was also born in 1972. So when he left the Red Sox and went to the White Sox, he flipped it from 27 to 72. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Because you don't ever really think about
history right there for you.
Yeah, no, it's not hockey. Don't worry, okay?
We do have some hockey in the show, though.
I do have some hockey. You never know. Football. Dan Dierdorf. Good old Dan Dierdorf. 6-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer. This one was interesting. Ed Too Tall Jones. And I was thinking to myself, well, obviously he must have been tall. I didn't know how tall he was. He's 6'9".
Imagine him barreling down on you.
He played He played on the D line, 106 career sacks at 6'9".
That's crazy.
That's insane. Joe Nash is another footballer, 47.5 career sacks. Some more recent ones for those that want to know recent. Matt Light, as anyone who has followed the Patriots in the last 20 years, he was part of that, awesome offensive line that protected Tom Brady. He was a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He was an All-Pro once. Also on the offensive line, Terron Armstead, 4-time Pro Bowler. But I think the most famous 72 was the Refrigerator Perry for the Chicago Bears. And he's most famously known for stealing Walter Payton's touchdown in the Super Bowl. When he came barreling in, they brought him in at fullback, and they handed the ball to him, and he just busted on through the line and scored a touchdown. And Walter Payton, who you could argue is the greatest, some will argue is the greatest running back of all time on one of the greatest single-season football teams ever, that 1980 Bears, he got hawked at the goal line by the Refrigerator Perry.
That's great.
Yeah. And then moving on here to hockey, just because Dave loves hockey, we have
I do.
Sergei, I'm going to butcher this, Bobrovsky?
Sounds
Did
good.
I mess that up?
You nailed it. No, you nailed it.
So I know I've heard of the name. He's a goalie. And so I did my little bit of research on him, and he is the goalie for the Florida Panthers. And the Florida Panthers this past year lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was the goalie for the Florida Panthers. But his actual best years as a goalie was when he was with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was one of those weird, hockey, because you don't really hear a lot about hockey contracts per se. but he was a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner, which is given to the top goalkeeper in the league every year in hockey. 2-time winner with Columbus, and he got the lucrative contract, free agency contract, to be the goalie for the Panthers, which is always interesting because you don't hear a lot about hockey contracts. When I think of hockey and I think of goalies, right? You think of guys that stay with their team forever, like Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh and Marc-Andre Fleury with Pittsburgh and those title-winning teams. Yeah. And who was the freaking goalkeeper for the Rangers all these years recently? They never won a Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to look it up. New York Ranger goalkeeper. He was, what the heck was his name?
Yeah, he was there a long time. Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, Lundqvist. Right? Henrik Lundqvist. Yeah. All these goalkeepers. I always think of them. I don't think of them as switching teams. I always think of them as they've been with their team forever.
Yeah.
And then also one more hockey, because it wouldn't be a hockey number without throwing a little Wayne Gretzky in there. Okay. Patrick Hornquist, another Quist. He has 543 career points.
Nice.
Which only puts him 2,300 points behind Wayne Gretzky all time.
2,300 off the pace. Not bad.
Not terrible. He's got. So you're saying there's a chance,
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then basketball. Believe it or not, someone did wear 72, but this player is definitely more well known for his playing days at UCLA. It is Jason Kapono. Remember Jason Kapono?
I do. Yep,
he played at UCLA. He wore 72. I believe it was with the 76ers in 2011-12 season, which is interesting, right? 72. No one thinks 72.
No.
Makes you think of like you said, when we get higher up in these basketball numbers, pretty much from here until Dennis Rodman, there's nothing.
Yeah, we're in a lull. It's nice to see a recognizable name. Normally, the players that wear it for 3 or 4 games are people you've never heard of. So to actually see someone that that's good.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I'll tell you, it's funny. I mentioned Dennis Rodman. My father and I were having a conversation today. I was on my way home this morning. I was talking to him in the truck, and we were talking about because the women's World Cup is going on right now, and Dennis Rodman's daughter plays on the U.S. women's national team. And my dad was talking about watching. He watched them play a few nights ago against the Netherlands, and he said that Rodman's daughter is a stud out in the field. And we got to talking about how good of a rebounder Dennis Rodman was in his day.
Yeah,
undersized power forward, but just could rebound the basketball like it was nobody's business.
Yep, and not afraid to mix it up with anybody.
Complete whack job, by the way.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Listen, that dude hangs out with Kim Jong-un from fucking North Korea, okay?
Hey, but it's not bad.
Hey, to each your own. I guess it's good to have a good Rolodex, right?
I mean, is it a bad thing to have his number in your phone?
No, I don't know. Befriend him, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking one time about like who's got the best Rolodex in sports.
Maybe it's him.
I mean, think about it. He's got Carmen Electra in there, right? Blast from the past.
Michael Jordan,
Scottie Pippen, Kim Jong-un. I mean,
it's a great one to throw in there.
It's pretty solid.
You want to talk about the contrast, right? You're like, oh, Carmen Electra, supermodel, American. Michael Jordan, best basketball player ever. Kim Jong-un, dictator, North Korea. Fucking great. Oh man,
that's pretty good. I have to say.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's your number 7. That's your number 72
He's
list.
up there.
But 72s are good, decent list, for the number that it is. But moving on. Let's keep on flowing here. We're going to jump into the Bible verse today, and it comes from Deuteronomy. I put this one in here. 31:6, Deuteronomy 31:6. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." So be strong and courageous. I don't even, I put this Bible verse in there, putting show notes in, and it resonated with me because of the first line, be strong and courageous. we got to be strong and courageous in today's day and age. Especially as dads, because we are leading our kids in a world of the great unknown, right? And also know that God is with you and always will be by your side. So that's why I picked this one, because I just think it's so important to be strong and courageous in today's day and age. School starts again, right? We have to have our kids have to have a little bit of courage, especially, new schools, new grades, new friends, it's no more important than ever before, but then to be strong and be courageous right now, and knowing that God is with us, and to not, that second line, do not fear or be in dread of them, right? Be strong, be courageous, knowing He's with us, and not have the fear of what potentially is out there,
Yep. He's with you all the time, regardless whether you're heavily invested in your faith at the moment or not. God's with you all the time. Mm-hmm. I think that's an important thing. And if you're in a position in your life right now where maybe you're not as in touch with God as you can be, maybe now's the time to try and find your way back to Him, because He's there, He's waiting for you, and He wants to welcome you back.
Yeah. And He's not going to turn you away. He's there for you.
Nope.
But that's your Bible verse today. Go check out Deuteronomy 31:6. Second big piece of news that we didn't touch on, besides Bryce's birthday, there was another birthday that happened this most recent week, and I'll let you announce it to the world that listens to the Full Force Fathers podcast.
Friend of the show, he's been on she's been our only guest on the show this far. Carp and Emily, congratulations, baby number 2. They got themselves a little boy now, Remington. They got the perfect family, man. White picket fence, boy, girl, dog. There you go. What more could you ask for?
They do have a white picket fence too.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's great.
They do have the picket fence.
There it is. Yeah, congratulations to them. Beautiful, healthy baby boy to go along with their family. That is great news. And congratulations, Carp, Emily. We're happy for you.
Yeah, we are super pumped. I know I was probably the annoying friend for the final week, because Carp's part of my regular routine. In the morning, I call him, shoot the breeze for, sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes it's 20 minutes. It's usually early because of the 3-hour time change. But I was like that annoying friend for the final week leading up to the birth of Remington, Remy for short. I was like, anything, Babygate 2023, anything. And finally, it was great. I love Emily. She goes, Brett, stop calling. When the baby gets here, we'll let you know. And I was like, no, I need to know now. I was calling him. It's sometimes literally up until the day before Remington was born, I was calling him twice a day. Anything? Nothing? Come on, give me something. Throw me a nugget. Give me something.
Yeah.
But
I had a text waiting for me at 6 a.m. He's like, baby's here, picture, stats. Yeah. He's like, came like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, damn, that was fast. Firing it out.
It's funny. He was born the same birth weight as I was. So he's going to be, if that's any inclination, he's going to be a big boy, because he was 8 pounds, 14 ounces.
All right.
So, kudos to Emily. She's a boss, delivering her second. So congrats, Em, Carp. And little Luna's got a little brother now she can pick on.
Yeah, that's right.
So today's episode, we're going to talk about a couple things, kind of like a round robin type episode. We're going to go over some fitness stuff here today, some summer fitness stuff. But I really wanted to touch base on one thing, and this was because, as you guys know, I'm a mortgage lender for a career. I'd rather be a full-time podcaster, to be honest with you, but still haven't figured out a way to make money to talk on this damn microphone. But anyway, so I just wanted to say this, and I know you're going to test this, and I'll let you speak your piece with it once I say it. But man, people really have to get their shit together. I mean, the amount of people that I see and I talk to that are, we talk about purchasing a home. I mean, that are just complete dumpster fires right now financially. I think it's just everybody in general, but I see it a little bit more. I mean, it's astounding to me. And I almost feel like it's the majority of people now. Collections, credit cards, you name it, personal loans, auto loans. Like, newsflash, if you want to buy a house you need to get your finances in order. And everybody, like, we live in this alternate reality where you want everything done yesterday, right? Everything for everybody. Everyone can do whatever, but like if I go and say, sorry, you're not gonna qualify, the most common answer I get is, what? Huh? Really? Yeah. What are you talking about? I make X number of dollars. Why can't I afford this $450,000 house? I can't buy? Like, those are all the common answers that I get. And it's like, really? Do you not live in the world? Like, do you not see what comes in your mailbox every month? Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, it's a very broad thing that I wanted to bring up, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. Inflation right now is so high. Interest rates are so high. People don't have cash. They don't have it. They haven't been planning right. They've just been using debt. Now they're using more of it because everything costs more. We've crossed $1 trillion in credit card debt in this country. $1 trillion.
Yeah.
That's just mind-boggling to me. I can't even really truly process what that means, but $1 trillion in credit card debt in this country. But yeah, with the fact that interest rates are higher, I mean, you know this firsthand because you're in the industry. You have a lot of debt. Interest rates are high. That means what you need to bring to the table every month is higher than what it was 2 years ago. And people don't have the bandwidth for it. They just don't have it because that money is going towards credit card payments or their car payments that are probably over $800 a month. It's ridiculous. You need to put a stop to it now. The bleeding can stop. There is a way to live without doing this, but people it's easier. It's easier. And then, I mean, people back pocket be like, let's file for bankruptcy. Some people say, let's file for bankruptcy. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's mind-boggling to me. But people, you need to stop it because it's just going to keep on compounding and compounding. You're not going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Student loans are coming back too, by the way. All these student loans that have been deferred, everything's got shut down. You're going to have to pay your student loans. They're not getting erased. So that's going to be another thing that's going to come back. It doesn't have to come out of people's paychecks. And there's no sign of interest rates coming down. So if you don't get your shit together, you're not going to get into that house. You're not going to be able to do things. You're going to be completely strapped financially to the point at which you feel like you're sinking. And that's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And these people, I'm sorry, it's not 2020. It's not 2021 again. There's not 2.5% interest rate out there anymore. Like, you got to come down in what your realistic expectation is. If you actually can qualify for a home, you need to be realistic in what kind of home you can actually purchase now versus what you could have 2 or 3 years ago. So that was my
government's not sending checks anymore for $7,000 to the family and all that nonsense. It's not happening anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You got to bail yourself out. You got to take care of yourself and your family. You can't be relying on anybody else to do it. The government isn't going to do it. The credit card companies aren't going to be like, oh, you know what? Nah, don't worry about it. It ain't going to happen. You owe the money, pay the money, work your ass off, getting through it, and come out the other side, and you're going to feel a hell of a lot better when you do.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, will you feel better? Because you'll actually know that you did it yourself. And to get out of that hole, it's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. But you'll never do it again. Yeah.
If you get yourself out yourself, you're never going to do it again because you're going to know the pain that you had to go through to get yourself out because it sucks and it's miserable. But when you do, speaking from experience here, I was there, deeply there. We worked our asses off to get out of it. And the other side is so much better. And it is possible. Doesn't matter what your income level is. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what it is you do for a job. You can get out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like nobody wants to work. Like, that's the big thing. Nobody wants to do the work. Everyone wants the easy way out. They just want, file for bankruptcy. Who cares? I won't be able to buy a house for 3 years, but at least I won't have to pay these debts. And then what are they going to do? They're going to go do it all over again. And it makes me think of that Thomas Edison quote, that famous Thomas Edison quote, right? It says opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work.
Yeah.
Go to work, right? That's one of the great quotes of all time that Thomas Edison said.
Yep, for sure.
But like you said, you speak from experience.
Yep.
Once you get to where you were and what you did to get out of it, you'll never go back to that again because you know what it felt like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not It's not even, it's a, the zero options mentality. Once you get the zero options mentality, then it makes it a lot easier when you know and you're on the same page. And you're proud of me because I just went and got Dave's new book at the library, and that's going to be my next book to read. Whatever, Everyday Millionaires. I'm super pumped to read that.
Yep.
Which is good. But anyways, that was my little rant about just the current state of affairs and my personal life and job. But what we really wanted to talk about today was summer fitness, and I am 2 months out for my 50 miler. I wish it was only 2 miles long, but it's not 2 miles long. It's 50 miles long. It's 2 months away to the day almost, because today is August 1st and my race is September 30th. So essentially 2 months to the day. And I want to talk a little bit about summer fitness and, bounce back and forth here because we were on vacation. We dealt with an excruciatingly hot summer here in the desert. You've dealt with a lot of thunderstorms and rain and stuff. And for me, I'll start. Summer fitness has been fun for me, especially a few weeks ago when we were in Colorado. That made summer fitness extremely fun for me because we were in the mountains, man. And I love putting miles on my legs in the mountains. It's my absolute happy place. It's where I'll go if the world goes completely down the shitter. I'll be in the mountains somewhere. You know that. And, running at 10,000 feet was amazing up in my brother's town of Leadville, Colorado. It's even more amazing when it's 45 degrees outside. When you wake up in the morning and it's 45 degrees and you can go out for a run, that weather, the weather was just the cherry on top, and we were having snowball fights. We were up on mountain passes over 12,000 feet. I was running mountain passes in Rocky Mountain National Park. I mean, it's been a good summer of fitness for me, especially those few weeks that we spent on the road in Colorado, and it was just tremendous. And then the mental game, the mental strength that comes from running in the damn heat here all summer long. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a grind. It's an endless grind in that heat. So yeah, I mean, you had a nice little reprieve from it while you were in the mountains because that is your happy place. So working those hills too is going to be important for the race you got coming up.
That race that I can't wait to run, but I also feel like I can't wait for it to be over at the same time, if that's even possible. This thing has been on my agenda for how long now? I don't even know. Lots and lots of months. And now we're into the meat. Summer was a prep.
Yep.
Now we are knee deep in the plan. And the way that I describe it, right? 2 months out so it's the Saddles 50 miler. For those of you that listen to the show that want to follow me, it is September 30th. I take off at 6 a.m. Arizona time, 50 miles in the mountains of Prescott, Arizona. So there's your details of the race. But I kind of want to shine a little light on the workout regimen that comes with taking on an endeavor like this, because 50 miles is not something you can just get off the couch and go do. You'll break yourself. You won't finish. So I kind of want to, like I said, now this is the crux of the plan. These next real 6 weeks are the real crux of the plan, in the high mileage weeks, in the tiredness, getting 4 or 5 hours a night because you got so much on your plate and you got to figure out how to fit the training in. This is not like a typical marathon plan where you just follow a 16-week marathon plan, you get your long runs in on the weekends, and that's that. I am going to be 50 miles in the mountains. The first 15 miles of this race is essentially uphill. And when I mean uphill, you're not on asphalt. You're climbing mountains for the first essentially 15 miles of the race. So I just want to talk about a little bit how the workouts are, and so you kind of understand what kind of intensity I'm dealing with and what I have to do to myself. And the best way I can describe it is I told this to Dave a little bit earlier, every workout has a purpose. There can be no wasted days anymore. I'm just going to go out for a casual 3-mile run and that's my workout for the day. Or I'm just going to go for a walk around the block with Andine and the dog. Every day, every workout, every meal has to have a purpose for the next 8 weeks. So essentially what my weeks look like right now, outside of my regular job, which I still do every single day, I get up at 4:00 every day. And I'm running, not like just going out for a casual jog. I'm running with a plan 5 or 6 days a week. I run 7 days a week, but my plan calls for 5, sometimes 6 runs a week. I am 2 of those days on hills. They have to be hills because I'm going to be climbing so much in the mountains. If you don't have any hill training, if you're just thinking you're going to run 50 miles and you did a bunch of long runs, you're going to be dead in the first 5 miles because you're not on nice smooth pavement. You're in the mountains.
Yeah.
So 2 days are on hills. And what I do to intensify those hills, I usually throw 15 or 20 pounds on my back when I do those hills because – listen, you're going to have a Camelback on. I'm going to have a couple liters of water in my vest and, not mimicking 20 pounds, but still it's more for the leg strength aspect of the training. Okay. I'm still doing weights. I usually do weights 3 days a week. I'm doing weights 5 days a week because I need these tree trunks, these quads, these hammies to be as strong as they possibly can be to lug my 200-pound ass around the desert mountains for 50 miles for 12 hours or 10 hours or however long it's going to take me. All right. On the weekends, yes, my long run is just like a marathon training plan where you'd have a long run on the weekends, but it is not on the road. My long runs are in the mountains. So I have my Camelback on. I'm mimicking race conditions, and I'm going out for 4 or 5 hours in the desert, in Catalina State Park, you name it, all these mountains around us, and just going. Lock the truck, take off, and go for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours because my final longest run, power hike up and down is going to be between 30 and 35 miles, which that's about a month away. So that itself alone is its own ultra all by itself because 50K is technically considered an ultra, which is 31 miles. So I'm going to do an ultra before I do my ultra, but it's not going to count for anything. It's just going to be an ultra to do one, because really anything after 31 miles. And a good friend of mine who's run 100-mile races before and 50-mile races said anything after 25, it's all heart at that point. It's literally all heart because after 25 miles in the mountains, you're already going to be beaten up, broken, blisters, cuts, scratches, miserable, puking. But I have every intention. There can't be any wing it workouts. Like I said, you can't just fly by the seat of your pants anymore with 8 weeks to go for this race. If you think I said you can't get off the couch and run this race, you have to be all in or all out because you're going to fall flat in your face. You're not going to finish. Yeah. And I'm not going there with the intentions of finishing. I'm going there to compete. I'm towing that line to compete. It is a race. It's not a let's go do 50 miles, sing kumbaya. It's a race. People are there to win the race. Now, I'm not going to win the race, but I'm there to compete, excel, and do the absolute best that I can to push myself past my perceived limits. The first 50K I did, the goal was to finish. I was also 20 pounds heavier and pre-75 hard, nowhere near as fit as I am now, and I was glad to finish my first ultra. This is a whole different meaning and a whole different purpose for me. This is to see how good I really am, and this is a test. This is a real test for me to see what it's like to get out there, get in the suck, get in that pain cave and fucking go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What excites me most about this for you is the fact that you've been looking for a race for over 2 years now that you could actually go and get a piece of, like a race that was kind of like designed for you. And this is something that you've never done, right? You've done an Ironman, raced a marathon. Like this is, and you've done, like you said, you've done an ultra, you've done a 50K, but this is like next level. And kind of seeing that the training that you're going through is pretty awesome to see. And I know you're going to give it everything you got and you're probably going to crush it. So I can't wait to see the results on this one.
Yeah.
No, are you going to listen to anything when you're out there, or are you just going to, you and your thoughts? Because I feel like you should be getting one of Goggins' books on like fucking audio and just listening to him fucking.
It's hard. I mean, I'll have my phone. I'll have my phone in my pack, just to have it if there's an emergency and I break my leg out on the trail or something. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have my phone with me. I don't know if I'll listen to anything. It's a good question. Probably not. Probably not. But if I was going to listen to something, I would probably listen to something that I've already listened to before. I would listen to something with Goggins on Cam, or Goggins on Rogan. I'd probably do like a playlist, right? I do Goggins' most recent episode on Rogan. I do Cam's most recent on Rogan, and then I'd listen to Chad Wright's two or three episodes. There's a cutoff on this race. You have to average 3 miles per hour. And there's a 30-hour cutoff or 32-hour cutoff in general, but because there's a 50 mile and a 100 mile going on at the same time. So the 50 mile, the 100 miler goes off at 5 a.m. and the 50 miler goes off at 6 a.m. So the 100 mile guys are already going to be an hour in.
Yeah.
Guys and gals, I should say, are going to be an hour in when we get the gun to go. And then we're going to camp, which is good. We'll have the camper, so I'll get a good night's sleep the night before. The reason why I want to do the camper versus doing a hotel or an Airbnb is because I want to mimic home as much as I can. And we have spent so much time in the camper since we bought it that I feel so comfortable. I sleep well in it. I sleep well in the bed in there. I'm used to, where all the light switches are. It sounds like stupid tedious shit, but when you're about to embark on something this big, you want as much normal as you can. So I'm used to the light switches. I'm used to the water. I'm used to the fridge. Where everything is in the dark. Yep. And then aid stations are every 10 miles. So I would prefer that I get to the starting line and then Andy and the girls are at, let's just say, I don't think they need to be at aid station at mile 10, but if they're at mile 20 aid station, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? Just to get a little boost, because that puts me almost at the halfway point, So, but I'm super pumped for it. I'm ready to rock and roll on it. And I know come race day, I'm really, really going to be ready. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So, but so that's really my summer of fitness has just been mental, physical training for this race. And now it's just really going to ramp up now in the next couple months. So, but enough about me. I like to talk. You don't like to talk.
No.
What have you been doing? Because you look good. You look good. So what the hell's going on?
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And while I was on vacation in North Carolina, I had sent you a picture of me and the kids on the beach, and then you actually responded. You're like, "Hey, you look good," and that for me was a huge, huge, huge victory. It was like it was a no scale victory. And most of the times, as you're going through a process, you look on the scale. That's kind of when you're overweight. Seeing the number on the scale go down, that's like the biggest thing. And I don't take a lot of stock in what most people say, like, "Oh yeah, you look good. What are you doing?" But when you say it means something to me because your fitness level and kind of your passion about it are two totally different things for most people. So. Man, I've quietly been going about my business, trying to get myself back to where I want to be. I've been kind of unhappy with the status of where I've landed after the last 75 hard. It didn't stick with me. I had so many things going on in my life. There are excuses, but lots of things going on over the last 9 months or so. So just quietly going about my business. You mentioned workouts have been fun. Your fitness for summer has been fun. And I can honestly say mine has been too. I've been working my tail off. I've been doing different stuff. Normally, me, I'm just out on the road. I'm pounding miles, either rucking or running or walking, whatever it may be. But, my legs are always getting shot on me. So I've been mixing it up. I've been doing some weight workouts, just some high intensity stuff and mixing in some runs and some rucks. And it's really been making a big difference. A real big difference. And I was telling you last week, I hurt my back in one of them and I was down and out for a few days and I'm finally starting to kind of come back to life again. And during that time, this is the first time in my life that I remember being pissed that I couldn't do a workout. And I was like, I was frustrated. I was disappointed. I was angry. That's the first time that's ever happened and I'm not training for something. Like I've been hurt before when I was training for a half marathon and then you're frustrated because like I'm falling off my plan because I have a thing in mind. This is the first time I don't have any goal set in mind that I'm training for. It was just me wanting to do it. I just wanted to be out there doing it. I don't naturally enjoy exercising like you do. I enjoy the benefits of it and I enjoy the results, that I see from it, but I don't just naturally enjoy like, yeah, I'm going to go out and just get a workout in. That's not me. It's never been me. But for the first time when I couldn't do it, I was really pissed, and I wanted to be out there doing it. So that for me, hopefully, is the switch in my head that is turning it for me. Maybe I found something that I can groove with and just continue to grow with. And I've been more focused on my nutrition than I've probably been since the first time I went through 75 hard. Like, it's been super dialed in to the point at which, like, I know exactly what my meals are going to be every single day, and everything is hyper focused. And those things together have made a big difference. And I've noticed great results in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and I know your numbers don't mean anything, because, you know, when you lose weight, sometimes people just are like, oh, you lost a bunch of weight, but are you gaining a bunch of muscle? Which seems like you're doing, because you finally listened to me after 5 years and you're finally picking up weights.
Yeah.
You cheap bastard. It's nice to hear that you're doing things. You know, Dave, this isn't going to mean much to many people, and Dave doesn't know this, but the other day when Dave was like, man, I was doing some renegade rows and I was doing a push-up in between each one. And I'm like, that dumb bastard finally figured it out. I said to myself, the son of a bitch pulled it off, right? From the movie from Liar Liar, when he wins the case, and he goes, the son of a bitch pulled it off. And I was like, dude, this guy's actually finally, I know his head is big and thick, but he finally got through to him that he needed to do something other than walk or ruck or run. And it made me smile. So it's cool. And I know, like I said, you're not a numbers guy, but you did tell me it's a significant number that you are down on the scale. What was it most recently?
18.
18 pounds. And that's a lot. That's a lot. 18 pounds.
Yeah.
But I bet you,
about a month.
But I bet you if you weren't doing weights, if that number would actually be bigger. That number would probably be 20 or 25
I've
pounds.
I haven't noticed my body just losing weight like most of the time in the past. I've noticed like my body's actually changing. Yeah. It looks stronger, feels stronger, the things I can do. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but every day I go out and play football with Bryce. Like, I can chuck the football a lot farther now. All of a sudden, like I just
you got some muscles you never had before.
Yeah. So
and that's the thing,
great, man.
And the other thing is, and this is a good way to look at it and understand it for those that are trying to understand what it's like to just lose a bunch of weight because you want to lose weight, or lose a bunch of weight, but doing it with weights and weight training. Because everyone thinks cardio, when you want to lose weight, cardio. No. Cardio is cardiovascular, right? You will burn significantly more fat if you mix up your cardio with weights and your weight training 3 to 4 times a week. When you're doing sprints or hill sprints and you're doing cardiovascular, not the same old monotonous go for a walk around the block. Yes, I'm not saying you won't lose weight that way, because you will, because if you change the lifestyle that you're supposed to change and you're supposed to do the food and the fitness at the same time, you're going to lose that weight. But here's the best way to think about it. Like Dave just mentioned it perfectly. When Dave used to lose weight, you would see, so if you're watching on YouTube, it would just watch me drop my shoulders. When you lose weight with no muscle gain, you're like this. Everything just kind of falls, right? But when you lose weight with muscle gain, you don't do this. You actually do this, because you're actually gaining muscle where you didn't have it before, and your posture is significantly better. Because when you lose a bunch of weight, it usually throws your posture out of fucking place, because all of a sudden you got a bunch of stuff just hanging around and moving around that's not usually there. When you lose, but when you lose the weight and gain the muscle, your posture gets significantly better because all those muscles around your bones are getting stronger. So that's what makes me the most proud, is because you're doing it, but you're doing it while mixing in the weights and making a major, major difference.
Yeah.
In a visible difference.
Yeah, and to me, I'm doing a bunch of stuff that I enjoy. The mix-up is great, and it's something that's sustainable to me. Yeah. You know, it's sustainable. With my life right now, this is sustainable. I can do it. I have plenty of time in my day for it, and I'm seeing great results, and I'm super excited for that.
What's changed is discipline, right? You're essentially just both of us, but you're essentially living the 75 hard lifestyle just all the time now. You're eating all the time good. You're working out. You're getting your workout in. They both might not be exactly 45 minutes, but guaranteed one of them is an hour in the morning, and then if you walk with Casey at night, so you're still getting the 2 workouts in. You're doing it all. And that's what 75 hard is meant to do. And that's why Dave and I preach do 75 hard. But don't just do it to do it, because you can do it and say, "Oh, I did it." It's the complete transformation that comes with it when you do it the right way is what you're a byproduct of right now.
Yep.
Which is good. And that's cool. And it makes me super, super happy. But yeah, like you said, it's working out well for you. You got the weights, you got all that good stuff going for you. And I didn't send you that text message to make you fucking puff your chest up. I sent that text message because, as you know me, I fly by the seat of my pants and I don't have much of a filter. I play it. No, I call it.
I know you didn't send it to puff my chest up. That's not who you are. So that's why I took it the way that I did. I was happy to see it.
Yeah. I call it as I see it. And as soon as I saw the picture that Dave had sent me, and I was like, "Holy shit, you look better." It was just like an instant reaction, right? Don't think like Maverick. Don't think, just do. Right? It was like, boom, motherfucker looks really good. So, but anyways, anything else you want to talk about in today's episode?
No, man. I want to see what you got for a book today.
Ooh, book. So today we have a really good book here. I'm a big Beatles fan. I know you like the Beatles, Dave. I think they're the greatest band of all time. I don't think it's even comparison. But I have a book right here called The Last Days of John Lennon by James Patterson. And Andy and I were on a walk. I got this book at the library a couple weeks ago, and I read it. And it was one of those books where you just don't want to put it down because you're invested in it. And this one, see how thick this book looks?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. It's really not that. It's really not that long.
Okay.
The back of this book, I have never seen so many pages. Watch this. I'm not kidding you. This right here, starting on page. So the book ends here. So this is where the book really ends.
Oh, wow.
Right here.
What's the rest of it?
Notes.
Wow.
From page 340, 440. There's 100 pages of notes. Because there's probably so many copyright issues with this book. I'm imagining he probably had a fuck ton of hoops to jump through to write this book.
Oh, I would imagine.
If you like the Beatles, go read this book. And it's really a really good book because what I like about it is it chronicles John Lennon, but it's not just John, right? The book is the last days of him, and I think it probably has to do with the way that he died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being assassinated. Well, not assassinated, shot and killed. Assassinated, whatever you want to call him, by that scumbag Mark Chapman that killed him in New York. But the book chronicles his life from about 15 on. I mean, it talks about his early childhood, like when he was young, you know what I mean? And the tragedy, his mom got hit by a bus and died, and he lived with his aunt. He didn't have a dad around. And the cool backstory of how the Beatles were founded, right? He was 17. That's cool. He was significantly older than Paul when he found Paul, but he realized how good Paul was. And then, because John was 17, Paul McCartney was 15. George Harrison was only 14 at the time. And John Lennon was like, I don't know if I can be in a band with these guys. They're so young. And the rest is history, right? Played at the Cavern in Liverpool, and the word Beatlemania and all that took off. But it also, I can't, even though I don't like to mention it because Mark Chapman is the man who killed John Lennon, the book is about him as well. Because it is called The Last Days of John Lennon. And it has a good bounce back. It has a good think where it talks about Mark Chapman a little bit and where he bought the gun, and then it'll go into 2 or 3 chapters about the Beatles. And it'll jump back to Mark Chapman in his room that he rented at the YMCA in New York City before he killed him, and it'll go back to 2 or 3 chapters about the Beatles and about John. So it's really good. Cool. The Last Days of John Lennon by James Patterson. Go check it out if you are into that type of book. We don't always just put self-help books on here and business books. We do read books, and we do like to read books in general.
Right.
So this is a good one. And don't be intimidated by the thickness of this book because 100 pages of it is nothing.
Cool.
I mean, it's something, but it's not nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but anyway, so that's your book recommendation, and that's your episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you. Like I said earlier in the show, please share it. Please tell people about it. Give us a 5-star review if you can. And Dave, take us home.
Yeah, everybody get out there, continue to live the full force life. You still got some weeks left of summer, so make fitness fun. School's coming up, get your plan together, and football is only about a month away. We'll see you next week.